man!
It's almost!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Now, Gukesh has taken the world by storm from being written off before the start of the candidates tournament to rewriting history. A teenager has scripted a very special path in the world of chess that's dominated by shrewd grandmasters filled with experience and sharp wit. Gukesh comes home after a whirlwind of a week full of adulation, overwhelming fanfare, and the pressure of expectations now. We have a special interview with the youngster Gukesh coming up today. But before that, a look at the headlines at Sports 360. We'll start with cricket. New Zealand beat Pakistan by a narrow margin in the fourth T20 international. Batting first, New Zealand posted 178 on the board. Opener Tim Robinson with 51 of 36 deliveries was the top scorer. In response, Fakhar Zaman's 61 went in vain as Pakistan's innings folded for 174, just short. New Zealand lead the series 2-1 with the final T20I scheduled for Saturday. In football and the Premier League, Manchester City beat Brighton 4-0 in the Premier League. Kevin De Bruyne scored the first goal for City. Phil Foden struck twice before half-time to give City an unassailable lead. Manchester City is second at the points table and only 1 point behind Arsenal. Football's governing body, FIFA, has signed a partnership with oil and gas conglomerate Saudi Aramco. FIFA said the deal will run through to the end of 2027. The multi-year deal will make Aramco FIFA's worldwide partner. The agreement includes sponsorship for the 2026 World Cup and the Women's World Cup in 2027. In tennis, Rafael Nadal made a winning start at the Madrid Open. He beat 16-year-old wildcard entrant Darwin Blanche 6-1, 6-love in the first round. Nadal will next face 10th-seeded Alex de Minaur, whom he'd lost to recently. Over in the women's category, world number one Iga Swiatek entered the third round. The Pole defeated China's Wang Shiyu 6-1, 6-4 in straight sets. The World Anti-Doping Agency, or WADA, will launch an independent investigation into the Chinese Tokyo Olympics doping scandal. 23 Chinese swimmers who tested positive for a banned substance were then allowed to participate in the Games. And we round off with news from the NBA. Golden State Warriors star Steph Curry has been named the Clutch Player of the Year. The NBA awards this to top players who perform the best for their team in clutch time, which is the final few minutes of a closely contested game. A success story is not something you can write overnight. It takes years and months of hard work, dreaming, and constantly thinking of just that one thing. Nothing else matters. No one else is important. That was Gukesh and chess, and it continues to be so. But in the interaction with the champion, we get to see the side to him that is vulnerable, that has been nurtured and groomed. A success story that has more than just his own talent, wit, and maturity written on it. I caught up with the chess prodigy at his home in India's southern city of Chennai to share his journey to this point and the hardships he and his family overcame to get here. This is, of course, just the beginning. He's obviously taken the world by storm, and everyone the world over, it's not just a chess lover, a sport lover everywhere can't get enough of him. It's been a magical, historical journey and a very, very key episode for Indian chess history as well. I am so thrilled and pleased to have Gukesh joining us here on Firstpost. Gukesh, it's absolutely a pleasure to be speaking to you. I can't even believe you're all of just 17.
Yeah, thank you. It's very nice being here, and yeah, thank you for all the words and wishes.
Gukesh, I have to ask you first off, why chess? I mean, when did that love, or when did that sort of spark hit you that, this is what I want to do and this is what I love the most?
I never really had that one moment where where I knew actually. But right from the time I started playing chess around 7 years old, I mean, that is the only thing that I cared about, and that is the only thing that kept me going. So and also when I guess I was just too young to really think about my career or something. And when I started getting that maturity, I was already very good enough. So it just it was just the most obvious career choice.
Wow, I like the clarity of thought, and it's like I said when I introduced you. It's hard to believe that you're all of 17. I think that's what everyone sort of is drawing out of this particular journey so far. Does it feel that way to you? Is it taking time for it to sink in? Because it's a lot.
Uh, yeah, sure. It's winning the candidates. It's something very special for
Yeah.
any chess player, and I've been dreaming about it for since the time I started. So it's uh, it's a lot, and I'm still taking it in. But I'm really glad how things went, and yeah, I'm enjoying the moment. Right.
Well said, and you truly should because you've earned it. You deserve this, and yes, you can take your time before you move on to the next challenge. But getting here did take time, Gukesh. I mean, you are only a teenager, but it's taken a lot of hard work. You know, I've played sport professionally myself. I know how the sacrifices one needs to take to get there, not just from the person who's in it, but also the people around. I want you to tell me the story of how your parents contributed to it, because we've not heard their side of the story yet, and everyone should know what is it that they've done through this journey in supporting you.
Sure. For sure. I mean, my parents have been the biggest pillars of support right from the start, and I would even say I haven't really sacrificed much personally, but what my what my parents and my team have gone through is it's much more than I can ever I can ever imagine. So I mean, my father almost quit his practice totally. Both being doctors, that's I mean difficult decision to make, and my mother, has to stay away from me whenever we travel. Uh, but she always manages to provide me emotional support. And other than this, few years back, we also had a lot of financial problems, and it was even hard to travel for tournaments. But yeah, my parents made sure that it didn't affect me, and they took all the burden of it and pulled through. So I'm yeah, uh, I can never really repay them for what they have.
Does that make the drive and the hunger much more to succeed? What you and your family had to go through to get to this point, does that fuel your passion more?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's uh, whenever I achieve something big, it's not only my achievement, but a lot of people's achievement, my parents and my whole team's achievement. It's really nice to know that you're not playing only for yourself, but there's a huge support system that is rooting for you, and your success will mean a lot to them, and it's surely a huge driving force
Well,
for
well,
giving my best.
Well said, Gukesh. I mean, that's so true. And chess is an individual sport, but for you to say that it is actually the win is not just yours but everyone's, I think that shows a lot of maturity. Where does this sort of this boldness come, you reckon? Is it something that you were instilled in from the beginning? Because you need to be brave to take decisions, to believe in something and have the conviction. Where does that come for you?
Um, the truth is, I don't really know where it comes from because um, it's brave. Being brave is not something that you can, I guess, practice. It's just a way of living life, I guess. I mean, and from a very young age, my mom uh, used to be we used to talk about a lot of mental stuff, and she used to tell me all the epics and all the like Ramayana, Mahabharata, and all the great stories, and she used to before sleeping she used to always say to me that I'm going to achieve all my goals. So I guess it's something that my parents instilled in me. I honestly did nothing myself to be brave.
Bit of modesty there. But we also hear that you did not, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you stopped classes when you were in the fourth standard and focused more on chess. I mean, that was one of the things that I read somewhere. And also that you did not play against engines like a lot of chess players do while they're training. What went into your training regime a bit? And if you could take us through, when did you start focusing more on chess and sort of said, okay, studies can take a back seat, and how your parents responded to that?
Yeah, I stopped regular schooling when I was around fourth standard, I guess. I mean, obviously, at that time, I was too young to make this kind of decision. It was my parents' decision, but it was clearly based on the only fact that I enjoyed chess and I'm quite talented at it. Um, and yeah, now I can only be happy that my parents took such a brave decision. Um, and yeah, uh, about the about not working with engines, it's something that we started out as just an experiment because it was my back then it was my trainer's uh, kind of idea to just look at positions without the input of engines. And I mean, it's an experiment which could have gone both ways, I
True,
think. But
true.
I did gain a lot, and I kind of developed a unique understanding of some positions. So, obviously, it's not only the positives. There have been some negatives, but I think overall it was a pretty good, uh, pretty good
Experiment.
experiment, and it's been executed.
I have to ask you, Gukesh, you've obviously played some of the best chess players over the course of your time in Toronto. What do you think sets you apart from them? What is the one thing that you thought that makes you different, and the reason why you won?
In general, we are all a bit different, and it's hard to go into the details specifically of each and every
Sure.
player. But in especially in the candidates, I would say, I mean, obviously, I don't know very intricate things about the other players, but from what I could read of myself, it was just that I was in a very good shape. I was fully motivated, and I was fully focused. I just wanted to be there, and I wanted to win it. Not as something that gives me pressure, but also something that really wanted as a child, and something that gave me joy. So yeah, I really wanted to be there. I was very disciplined, and yeah, when you're doing the right things over a long period of time, I think uh, the results will go.
I have to ask you this. I know it's been a week, but what was that one moment during the tournament where you felt a little low? I mean, it was a long tournament. It was an intense tournament. It is understandable to feel different emotions because it was a very intense, candidates. So the one moment where you were a little low, and the one moment where you were the most, you felt most positive and just in the best zone. If you could pick a couple of those, what would those be?
I think the lowest moment, although even the lowest moment was not very low, and I quickly recovered from it. The lowest moment was the round seven loss against Ali Reza because I played a good game
Yeah.
uh, that day, and I was dominating for the most part. But I did something that I know I shouldn't do, and it was very bad time management.
Okay.
So I was just kicking myself for repeating the same mistake that I had done before.
Okay.
But also, it kind of I recovered very quickly from that, and even the next day after the game, I felt in very good spirits, and that was probably the highest moment. The rest day after. the round seven loss,
Yeah.
because the motivation was just at the highest point
Oh.
in the entire tournament at that time. I don't know, the loss kind of just fired me up, I guess. And after that, it was just, uh, not very smooth, but my mental state was at the highest level possible.
I'm very curious to ask. We know that, of course, your dad, Rajnikant, keeps traveling with you often, um, and I know he was very tense. There was this one video, particularly, where you're coming out, and so surprisingly, you're just swarmed by everyone, but you're fine. You're cool. You're collected. You go about, entering and giving your interview, but your dad is so tense because someone's just asked him, "How are you feeling after that win?" And he's like, "I'm relieved." I'm very curious. Does he sort of how is his interaction with you while you're in a tournament? Um, does he give you space to get into your zone? Is there something that you do? How does he interact? Because I'm sure for him it's more nerves than it is for you.
Yeah, sure. I guess it's uh, his his part is even more difficult to play than mine, because I know what's happening on the board. I know what
Yeah.
I'm doing. Although he understands chess, obviously it's harder for him. And yeah, he tries his best to make sure that the only focus that me and my team have is on chess, and all the other things have been taken care of. And how he deals with his nerves, I don't know. I guess he has his own stuff, but he makes sure that he doesn't come in between my routines and my personal space. So yeah, he's they're like a wall between me and the outside world, so that I can fully focus on chess.
Wow, well said. And if speaking of routines, is there something particularly that you have to do before any match?
Um, well, I try to find a simple routine, and I do that every day. It's not something that uh, it's some genius thing or anything, but just simple things over a period of time just puts you in the right rhythm, uh, keeps your mind clear, I think. So, like, I adjust the pieces in a certain way, and I make sure, like, with some things that I'm comfortable before the game starts. Just very, very simple things.
I have to ask you also, you've obviously played so many grandmasters, you've played such experienced players over the course of your short career so far. Is there any one moment or is there any one, person, anyone, it could be Vishy, it could be Magnus, anyone who's said something or who's given you an advice or it's someone else that's sort of stuck and it's sort of, you've sort of inculcated it or imbibed it or it's a part of you? Anything that's sort of helped you?
I can think of a lot of advice I've received over the years um, that have been very helpful. Even just interacting with all the great players like Vishy sir, like Magnus, anyone else, you learn a thing or two. Even when you're just casually chatting, if you're really present in the moment, you can learn a few things that you can use later. And they have been very. I have chatted with with the great players a few times, and I've learned a lot. I can't think of a specific advice that completely changed the way I think, but yeah, there have been a lot of moments where I learned something that have been very useful
Sure.
in the future.
Sure. A few questions, and of course, we'll wrap up. One, of course, I have to ask you, was it a little overwhelming when you came to the airport, or even when you were there in Toronto and all the, I know you did a lot of events after the candidates win, and just the sort of attention you were getting, the fandom, the signing of the autographs, the selfies, the photos, people wearing your masks. Is it a little overwhelming? Like, what is your inner child? Because there is an inner child there. What is it telling you? What is it thinking?
Um, yeah, I'm really glad about the kind of attention that chess is receiving. I think that all the people I've met. in Toronto or after I came back to Chennai, they all have been very respectful and they have gone out of their way to show their support. So I'm really, really glad, and especially, uh, after the tournament, I met some people in the park, and they were so
Yeah.
considerate of my time, and they were so respectful. They gave some gifts even, and also in Chennai, in the while I came to the airport, it was like 2:30, 3 a.m. in
Yeah.
the morning, and um, yeah, there were like 100 kids waiting for me. It was so nice to see. I mean, I wish I could have spent a bit more time, but it was too crowded, and I really regret not spending time. But it really means a lot to me. And in general, uh, chess has given me a lot, and I, I always try to do uh, my part to giving back whatever I can for chess.
We'll wrap this up with just a couple of more questions. Gukesh, one, of course, are you even thinking about that World Championship face-off yet? That's a big one. Everyone's already talking about it. What is it that's going through your mind when you're you're going to face Ding Liren, and it's going to be a massively amazing moment?
Yeah, I'm really excited for the match. I I mean, I haven't had a proper time to start the preparations, but it's probably also good that I take some time off from chess. It's been a stressful few weeks, but yeah, I can't help but already start thinking about the match, and it's going to be a challenge for sure. And yeah, it's going to be a new level of pressure and expectations. But I think uh, if I continue to do the right things, and if I continue to uh, have the right kind of mentality, I'm sure I can handle it, and I can achieve the goal. But yeah, I'm really eager to start preparing and to go and play the match.
Do you think the Gukesh before candidates and the Gukesh after candidates, there's something that's changed in you as a person, in you as, I mean, player, yes, but as a person, is there a change?
As a person, I've never really wanted to change, but I guess in the candidates, I kind of learned more about myself. And, when you have such a huge experience, you obviously uh, have some take away some insights that help you understand yourself better, and helps you follow the right path. So I I think it has been mostly positive. Whatever changes happened before and now, before the candidates until now. But yeah, let's see how the future is.
And we can't wait for that. We can't wait for the future as well. And we're keenly following you and, of course, your family's efforts over the next few months. Thank you so much, Gukesh, and much warmth to all your family as well, your members. It's been a great win for all of you. So congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Time for last serve. Now, we spoke about a young prodigy taking on the sporting world by storm, but how about an old warhorse making it back to the sporting world? A comeback like none other in football. At 58, Brazilian legend Romario is set to make his return to the sport after 15 years. Clearly, no age to fulfill your dreams and continue working at your true passion. But that does it here at Firstpost. Do keep following us for all the latest from the world of sports. Have a lovely weekend. I'll see you again on Monday.